They called it the longest 10 minutes in modern history, the moment when three nations stood one decision away from full-scale war. It began as a routine exercise, a set of harmless radar pings over the Pacific. But then came the silence, the blackout, the sudden disappearance of an entire destroyer group. What followed was not a battle fought over territory or ideology, but a demonstration of how fast a modern war could start, and how precisely it could end. Every order timed to the second, every missile strike calculated to the meter, and every mistake broadcast in real time to the world. At 6:21 a.m. Tokyo time, the U.S. 7th Fleet reported loss of contact with the USS Thomas Hudner, an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer patrolling 100 kilometers south of Kyushu. The ship's radar feed froze mid-scan, then vanished from all networks. Japan's Maritime Self-Defense Force received simultaneous alerts from 3 early warning satellites showing a flash, a spike in thermal radiation, and then nothing. No explosion detected, no distress call, just disappearance. Within 90 seconds, Japanese command flagged it as a probable electromagnetic attack, a ghost strike, North Korean signature. In Pyongyang, a statement was already drafted. It blamed American aggression for maritime interference near sovereign waters. No broadcast yet, but the draft was waiting for approval. U.S. intelligence intercepted the internal transmission at 6:29. The National Reconnaissance Office confirmed faint radar emissions from a coastal site near Hamhung, an old test range believed inactive. But the signal wasn't from a radar. It was a pulse emitter, newly calibrated, short burst, directional. The kind of weapon designed not to destroy, but to blind. At 6:31 a.m., Japan's Prime Minister, Keiji Morita, convened emergency cabinet. The decision came in less than 1 minute. Elevate to Defense Readiness Condition 2. All Aegis destroyers activate combat systems. Airspace over Kyushu restricted. Civil aviation diverted. No announcement made to the public. The official statement would call it a technical communication issue. But everyone in command understood. This was not a glitch. Someone had fired the first invisible shot of a new war. By 6:34, U.S. Indo-Pacific Command ordered all assets in theater to passive alert. No launches, no transmissions, full electronic silence. The USS Ronald Reagan Carrier Group powered down non-essential systems and shifted to manual optical watch. Reconnaissance satellites realigned to North Korean airspace. Analysts noticed unusual heat blooms near Wonsan. 6 mobile vehicles preparing for launch, their signatures faint but distinct. North Korea wasn't hiding, they were baiting. The pattern was clear: draw US and Japanese attention south, then strike north. At 6:36 a.m., a single coded transmission broke radio silence. Operation Silent Reef, Stage 1 authorized. It came from Admiral James Hewitt, same commander who had overseen Operation Rising Sun 3 years earlier. His orders were precise. No offensive fire, no declaration. Identify the pulse weapon, disable it without escalation. The weapon itself wasn't lethal, but its implications were catastrophic. Whoever controlled it could paralyze entire defense networks with one signal. At 6:37, the first aircraft launched, 4 F-35A, stealth fighters from Misawa Air Base, Japan. Call signs Ghost 1 through 4. Their mission: locate and neutralize the emitter site. Flight plan took them low over the Sea of Japan, below radar, under cloud cover. Estimated arrival near Hamhung, 06:56 a.m. Meanwhile, the U.S. Air Force dispatched 2 B-2 Spirit bombers from Guam, armed not with bunker busters, but electronic disruption pods designed to fry power grids without detonations. The goal was silence, not destruction. 6:41, North Korea detected movement. Their radar tracked the F-35s briefly before losing lock. Pyongyang's response was immediate. 3 surface-to-air batteries near the coast activated, scanning sky sectors, but they weren't aiming at aircraft. They were searching for incoming missiles. They didn't know the attack was already inside their airspace, silent, invisible, 10 minutes away. Meanwhile, Japan's Cyber Defense Division engaged in parallel. Digital intrusion into North Korean command networks. Objective: copy the activation codes of the emitter. No physical strike until code confirmation. 0647. The USS Shiloh, positioned 130 kilometers east of the Korean coast, intercepted a brief burst transmission from inland North Korea. 6-digit code encrypted but recognizable as launch authorization. Analysts decoded enough to confirm intent. The emitter was about to fire again, this time toward the carrier group itself. Time to second pulse. 3 minutes, 12 seconds. Witt's decision came fast. Execute stage 2. Disable immediately. 0649 AM. Ghost 1 and Ghost 2 reach target range. Visual confirmation. A disguised facility built into a hillside above Hamhung. Concrete dome, venting smoke. 3 mobile trucks parked beside it. No visible guards. Ghost 3 dropped electronic countermeasures, jamming the site's radar. Ghost 4 locked onto power conduits leading underground. At 6:50:32, Ghost 2 fired 2 precision-guided small-diameter bombs. Impact delayed 1 second apart. No fireball, just implosion. Power cut, dome dark, pulse signal flatline. 6:51 AM. The second pulse failed to transmit. The entire North Korean command network went silent for 20 seconds, then shifted to full alert. Air raid sirens in Pyongyang. Mobilization order across eastern provinces. Japan's self-defense force intercepted open comms. Confused chatter, no coordination. The emitter was gone, but the leadership thought it was sabotage. Kim Jong-un's inner circle ordered retaliatory readiness. 10 mobile launchers rolled out near Sondok airfield, heading south. The world was now 30 minutes from a possible missile exchange. At 6:53, the 2 B-2 bombers entered Korean airspace. Their mission changed mid-flight. New orders: strike mobile launchers before they could deploy. Each B-2 carried 16 joint direct attack munitions. No delay authorized. At 6:57, both aircraft released ordnance from 40,000 feet. 16 impacts across 10 kilometers of coastline. Explosions visible from satellite. 4 launchers destroyed, 3 disabled, 3 escaping north into mountain terrain. 6:59 AM, Pyongyang broadcast emergency message on state channels. American invasion in progress. The message reached global media within minutes, but the broadcast ended abruptly. Signal jammed. The US and Japan didn't respond publicly. Silence was strategy. While North Korea shouted, the Allies operated. South Korea activated its F-15K fighters for defensive patrol near the DMZ. China moved naval vessels eastward, but issued no statements. Everyone was watching, waiting to see who fired next. 7:02. Japanese radar picked up heat signatures near the eastern coastline. 2 unidentified aircraft climbing from the mountains. Possibly North Korean interceptors, possibly decoys. Ghost 3 and Ghost 4 shifted position to investigate. At 7:04, radar confirmed them as MiG-29s, armed but erratic, their communication encrypted on outdated channels. Ghost 3 locked on but didn't fire. Instead, it transmitted a burst of radar noise that confused the MiG's guidance systems. Both North Korean jets banked sharply and crashed into terrain within seconds. 0706. Situation stabilized but fragile. US command wanted proof the emitter weapon was fully neutralized. Japanese cyber units confirmed access to its internal logs. The last recorded pulse cycle showed a catastrophic overload at 6:50:33. The weapon melted from within. Engineers later confirmed it was an early prototype of a microwave-based anti-satellite jammer, meant to disable regional sensors. Had it fired successfully again, every early warning satellite over Asia would have gone blind for 1 hour. 7:08 AM, Tokyo declared partial success. Operation Silent Reef complete. But the aftermath had just begun. North Korean leadership ordered artillery units near the DMZ to high readiness, assuming an invasion. US Pacific Command intercepted orders for live missile fueling at Yongdok. Response options were limited. Either strike preemptively or show restraint and risk escalation. The decision fell to President Hayes in Washington. At 7:12, authorization given. Demonstrate capability, no casualties. 7:14. Two F-18 Super Hornets from the USS Ronald Reagan launched AGM-158 cruise missiles. Not toward North Korean soil, but the open sea 12 kilometers off its coast. Detonations formed a visible shockwave detected by Pyongyang radar, interpreted as precision warning. Within minutes, missile fueling at Yongdok ceased. Ground crews abandoned sites, satellite images confirmed withdrawal. It was over, at least for now. 7:18. Japan resumed normal air traffic. Civil broadcasts returned to standard programming. Public announcement described temporary defense exercises with Allied coordination. In truth, Tokyo had narrowly avoided a massive escalation. The pulse weapon destroyed, the lost destroyer later recovered, drifting, disabled, crew alive but unconscious from electrical failure. No one spoke publicly about what exactly had happened inside that electromagnetic field. Classified reports described melted circuit boards, blackened metal, and one frozen display showing the time of the pulse, 062114. By 0723, U.S. reconnaissance confirmed no further North Korean mobilization. Chinese naval activity subsided. The Pacific quiet again. Yet everyone involved understood what had changed. The first non-nuclear weapon capable of disabling entire fleets without firing a shot had been deployed, and the U.S. response had proven that even invisible attacks could be met within minutes. The era of silent warfare had begun. At 8 a.m., Admiral Hewitt delivered final situation report. 1 ship disabled, 0 fatalities, 1 adversary capability neutralized. Objective achieved. But the deeper assessment circulated later that day. North Korea's test wasn't a failure. It was a warning. Proof they could blind the Pacific if they ever chose full confrontation. The Allies had answered fast, but not fast enough to prevent the signal. The next time, it might not be practice. Hours later, state media in Pyongyang resumed broadcast. The Korean People's Army successfully demonstrated new electromagnetic defense system against American intrusion. No mention of destroyed launchers, no word of lost aircraft, just silence wrapped in denial. Satellite imagery told a different story. 3 scorched craters near Hamhung, melted trucks, twisted antennae, the emitter gone, its power plant buried under collapsed concrete. In Washington, the president addressed the nation. No lives lost, no war started. But the message is clear. You cannot attack our systems and expect invisibility. We see everything. We respond faster than you can blink. In Tokyo, Prime Minister Morita gave a quieter statement. Our defenses held, our alliance endured, and our enemies now know that silence will not protect them. That night, over the Pacific, US and Japanese aircraft returned to bases, pilots grounded, engines cooling. Satellites shifted orbit again, scanning the same coordinates near Hamhung. Nothing moved, just the smoldering remains of a weapon that never fired twice. The entire event, from first signal to last confirmation, lasted 57 minutes. Less than an hour, yet it redefined the rules of modern conflict. The next morning, markets opened normally. News cycles moved on. But inside every defense ministry across Asia, the reports circulated under the same title, Silent Reef Incident. Analysts agreed on one point. If the second pulse had transmitted, half the Pacific's radar systems would have gone dark, and every capital from Tokyo to Seoul would have been blind for critical minutes. Those minutes would have changed history. Instead, the response came in time. And so, a pattern was written. Attack unseen, expect retaliation you cannot predict. Fire an invisible weapon, face an unstoppable counterstrike. This was the new reality of the region. No missiles in the air, no mushroom clouds, just silence, detection, and precision. The war that almost began and ended before the world knew it existed. 57 minutes. 1 lost destroyer, 1 erased weapon, and another message burned into history. Never test Japan. Never test the Alliance. Not anymore.